Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. We're going to be talking about Marvel Tokon again today because I want to deep dive into some of the gameplay that we've been shown at the State of Play, and also we got just a little bit more footage, which is very revealing because it's definitive proof that they have changed the game up. Marvel Tokon in its various betas, there's been some criticism about, depth, combos, all that kind of stuff, and seemingly some of that's been addressed. Now, of course, this kind of is the Arc System Works way. If you remember, say, Guilty Gear Strive when it came out in the betas all those years ago, the betas versus the launch product, it was a very different game. Lots of things changed on the rules, how combos worked, all that kind of stuff. And that seems to be how Tokon is working as well. Like, it's sort of evolving with player feedback. So we're going to talk about just what's been shown in the trailer, what's seemingly different as far as the rules go, and also some of this new footage, which is illuminating, especially for Danger. I know Danger won a lot of hearts and minds because 99% of the audience did not know who she is because she's a out there choice, and she's got some dirty stuff here in that new footage. So before anything else, potentially what changed gameplay-wise and why is it a big positive for the game? So one of the big things out of the gate is they may have changed how assists work. So as it currently stands, the whole system's really wacky, right? Because your team order determines your character's assists, and I think that's actually one of the most interesting parts of the game, but there are several parts of it where it's heavily genericized. So like, if you are hitting the opponent any way, shape, or form, they just do a generic ground assist. If you jump in any way, and you call the assist while in the air, they just do a generic aerial assist. And whatever assists are unique to them go out the window. So that is the part that may have changed to some degree, although we're a little light on details, but even the game's director stated that they have taken the players' feedback in from the closed beta test, and well, there you go, right? Your voices matter. So what's different here? So a small clip from the original trailer before the new footage, we see here Danger is doing like an EX tackle kind of move, and Storm calls the assist, and this is not, I repeat, not her generic hit assist. So something's different there. We don't know what, but something's different. And in the new footage, we can see clear as day, she's just doing like a basic block string, and the Miss Marvel assist gets called, and she does not the generic hit assist. So before, in this situation, on a block string or hitting them, it doesn't matter, you call the person, they're just going to come in and do their generic hit assist. And here, they're not. And keep in mind, this is on block for this particular clip, right? Also, there's footage here, as we showed earlier, on hit, we can also get the character to do something that is not the generic hit assist, as you can see here, right? So what's going on? It's not that the generic hit assist went away. Even in that new trailer, we have multiple scenarios where they're basically just doing basic combos. They get the hit assist that causes the tumble, and then, you combo from there. So it's clearly still in the game, some way, somehow, some form. That's not gone, but there's some way to manipulate your character that you can get something different. Also for Danger, it looks like if you tag her right after the fact, she can be airborne after the tumble assist, so that's cool. Combos, I guess. But on hit or on block, it doesn't particularly matter. If we can call the more normal assist instead of the generic ones, that's just going to open up the freedom of the game by a lot. New combo routes will be possible. New ways to mix up your enemy will be possible. Just makes the game more freeform, just improves kind of everything you could hope for, really. We just know this is how it works. We don't know the hows and whys. That'll come in time, I'm sure. But still, this is definitely a net positive for the game. Not even the only assist change. Air assist might be different or gone in this little section here. So Danger calls an assist while in the air. And by the old rules, it would be whatever character's air assist, right? And instead, Iron Man lands and does a grounded beam, a projectile assist, not the aerial version. And to be frank, the air assist, like, this is my opinion only, I kind of hated them. Again, they're sort of generic. It's just dull because, like, if I'm in the air, sometimes I want my grounded assist because I want to cover the ground while I'm in the air. And now we see here, this is exactly what's happening. Danger calls the assist in the air, and yet we get the grounded assist before Iron Man would be in the air doing the beam. As just like the grounded generic assist, it's about as generic as it can get an air assist. It's going to be the closest approximation to a projectile. So air assists are different or gone. If they're gone, I'm pretty okay with that. I'd almost always would rather have the ground assist, to be honest with you, especially because they're much more varied. But yeah, at a minimum, these are big system changes. They're listening to the feedback. The game at launch is not necessarily the game you're going to be playing in the betas. Now, there's another potential change I've seen discussed online. I don't know. Some people are talking about like the combo limit is being relaxed. You can get more hits, more everything in combos. I'm not 100% on that, just because from the look of it here, it looks like Wolverine's jumping normals are all multi-hit. So even though the numbers going high, like the internal hit count might not necessarily be going higher because it's a multi-hitting move, don't know for sure. File that one under maybe. Because with the correct assist usage, you could get pretty long combos anyway. So we'll see how that one kind of shakes out. So that's some of the potential system level changes. We don't know for sure. We can only go off the footage we're seeing here. We're speculating, admittedly, right? But some of this seems pretty locked down. And again, it's listening to the fan feedback because people want how, pressure, assist, combos, all that changing. And it looks like all that stuff is changing. Now, let's move it back to some of the character-specific stuff we did not cover in the original video. And I guess we'll start with magic just because Storm, we already know. Only real thing to mention, because we talked about the portals already in the previous video, but I guess I didn't make it clear that she's very obviously an install character. The red stuff, that's more than a palette swap. That's Darkchild, right? So this is her more demonic form. And I'm sure while she's in her more demonic form, she'll have better moves, better normals, access to maybe moves she would not otherwise have. Arc System Works sort of got this install thing figured out. We call it install because of Guilty Gear, because of the Dragon install, right? And that sort of mechanic is absolutely tailor-made for Magic. It's just a matter of how does she achieve it. It won't lock her out of moves, at least. She can do a lot of the fun portal stuff without it, but we can see her kind of go into it. Does that take meter? Probably. But rest assured, it lets her do some pretty cool stuff, it would seem. Wolverine, the big thing to mention I did not mention in the original video is he's a super armor character, which is a little off-brand for him. Not that it doesn't make perfect sense. He's got an adamantium skeleton. He can regenerate, tanking moves. That's like obvious. That should have been a thing a long time ago, but it's just not how he's usually portrayed in the games. He's usually in various games, if it's not just a fighting game, he's just quick and just attacks a lot, right? Sometimes he regenerates health, but not so much he can just tank things. But still, once again, it's very on brand for him, and it's Canadian content, because Canadians in fighting games have super armor. Also, hard to make much of it, but he might have a little mini buff mechanic. After a move, you can just see him like yell, and there's a red flash. It could improve something, could be like a stock system, who knows, but it's there. Now Danger, it was very clear out of the gate just watching any Danger gameplay. She's the annoying, like fill the screen with garbage zoner character, right? Also like the projectile that explodes into other projectiles. Screams to me, if you're up against her, just tag in the character that has good anti-zoning. Like, cause don't try to deal with this nonsense if your character's not equipped for it. The biggest thing I got out of her though, outside of all just the crazy zoning, is from this new bonus footage. Cause Danger, on top of all this zoning craziness, has the Morrigan dash. So a Morrigan dash, or an Eno dash if you know Guilty Gear, you basically dash and it just leaves you slightly above the ground, leaving you airborne, right? So while Magic's in the block string, she goes for like the quick overhead. So on top of all the zoning craziness, if she gets a good block string assist, she's also basically like a mix monkey. Because it's the easiest thing in the world. When the Morgan dash, you got the overhead, you empty dash, go for low or a throw, or dash again, then do with a fake out overhead into an overhead. Lots of things are going to be possible. For a character that was effectively an unknown for 99% of the audience before the State of Play debuted the Marvel Tokon trailer, I have a very strong feeling she's going to be a quick fan favorite. And that means I'll probably hate her because I'm going to pick the biggest, dumbest, slowest character, and that means she'll probably have an 8-2 matchup against whoever I pick. But you know what? I'm used to it at this point. But yeah, good stuff for Marvel Tokon. Exciting stuff. It's clear they're listening to fan feedback because some of the stuff we talked about gameplay-wise, mechanics-wise, is definitely quite different than how it was at the beginning in the first beta. So things might be pretty different, and whenever we get our hands on it again, it is coming out in August. I'm sure there'll be an open beta sometime between then and now, and everyone get to play it again. We can get our hands on it and just see how it turns out. Again, this is exactly what happened with Guilty Gear Strive. The game debuted, people were critical of some gameplay aspects and our system work. They took that criticism in and changed the game accordingly. And then Strive went on to be an unqualified hit and the highest selling game in the franchise many times over. So, by all means, keep your criticisms up. However, also, this is not their first rodeo, so maybe give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, but that said, if you haven't checked out the original first Tokon State of Play video, check it out as we go into other details, as well as potential story bits. And of course, naturally, when there is more to be learned, we'll have it covered here on the channel. But that said, that's it for me, and that's it for the news. And well, thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some fighting games.